Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Whiskey Wednesday, whiskey in hand. We are talking about PayPal integrating MetaMask, providing MetaMask services for all of the crypto related services for the PayPal users who are using PayPal, exploring crypto, sending and receiving, exploring the metaverse. They're going to be able to use MetaMask now. You know what MetaMask uses? MetaMask uses ENS. So let's drink some whiskey. Let's discuss. Joining us right off the bat, we got a couple of people coming in, but we have Ada.eth, 184.eth in the house. How you guys doing?
Great. Happy Whiskey Wednesday.
Very good. Although I forgot Whiskey Wednesday. I genuinely forgot. So maybe not so good. But Thread Girl will drink my whiskey. She'll take my serving.
Yeah.
The girl's the bartender.
Everyone.
Hey, Third Girl.
Guys, give me 5 minutes and I open my cam. But meanwhile, because I was looking like shit and like just in the spaces, right? So I need to like just put something on. Cheers, anyways. Can you hear the?
We can hear it. Yep.
Yeah.
It sounds cold and it sounds like whiskey.
Yeah.
You know it, Gary. I missed you guys so much, by the way. Sorry I haven't been here this week. Had in real life shit to do during the day, man, and that sucks. And I'm not like used to waking up during the day anyway, like being on this show or not. I- like we DJs, we sleep during the day, wake up during the night, but it has been fucking hectic.
Yeah. Well, waking up during the day, waking up during the night, you gotta wake up whenever you want to wake up. Whatever you gotta do, you know. And if I mean, whatever you gotta do, you gotta do, and that's what's important. You know, and the way that I like to think about it, I like to think about it in terms of rocks. I don't know if you guys took earth science class when you guys were in high school or whatever school, but there's this experiment in the earth science class. If you have a bunch of different size rocks and you want to fit all of those rocks, like the most number of rocks into, you know, the same, like a glass of the same volume, the way that you get the most number of rocks in the glass is by starting with the largest rocks, starting with the biggest, heaviest rocks, and then the medium-sized rocks, and then all the small rocks. And if you take all the tasks that you have to do in a day, you know, all the important shit that you have to get done, you know, today or tomorrow, if you prioritize the biggest, most important things first, then you're going to get more done than if you were to do all the small rocks first. So you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's also really, really good method for like visioning. If you're kind of like planning what's important in your life and what to prioritize. I love to do it like visually. You just kind of like draw a jar and you put like some of the biggest things. And you know, some of them might be just like necessities, right? If you have family, that takes like a big chunk. If you have a job or working on a business, whatever that is, that takes a big chunk. But it shows it's like a really good visual representations for those of us who are visual to kind of like, okay, this is my life, this is the space that I have in a day, and this is what's possible to fill it up. I really like that exercise.
Playing on that visual thing, I like the sort of variation of these or a combination of these. It's listing all the things that you might have chores to do throughout a day or things that you said you would do. Some are non-negotiable, others are things you're trying to fit in. And it's that logic of, I'm sure there's a book about it. I'm sure I heard it from a book or something, but it's, you know, tackle that one thing. What is the one thing that if you did it, it would have a cascading effect that you wouldn't need to carry out the other things, or they would be inconsequential, or perhaps just done faster. And tackle that first and foremost, and you win the day.
Now, I'm not that strategic, you know. I'm a not too organized person. Whatever I get done, I get done. Don't give a shit. But, guys, Gary and 184, you know I love you so much, right? But I came here because of Ada, because I thought Man, this woman only comes on Wednesday. I'm not gonna let her drink alone with you barely mid drinkers.
Ow!
Whoa. This is an authentic glass of whiskey. I can hang with you, ladies.
An old fashioned.
Old fashioned.
It
Made
counts.
with old
Okay.
fashioned, made with whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm going to dig myself a little bit deeper. I don't even have the sparkling water with the full bubbles. I have the fine bubbles.
No, come on, 184. You gotta give it to us one time. Like, we have all went tipsy on this show and saw each other tipsy. We need to see you as well. That's what's fun about this show, right? Brings out the true, authentic self of everyone because after two
100%.
drinks, bye bye.
100%. I'm a big consumer of podcasts, and I listen to. And when it's warm, it's kind of really bone chilling right now outside. But when it's warm, I walk, and so that's like every day I kind of get to catch up on the podcast. And winter is like a little tougher because I have to find the time. And so lately I've been going to the gym, and so I listen to the podcast. And it's it's so funny, and life is really like that, especially right now. Is that with the internet there's like everybody's an expert, and so you have all these kind of opinions and they're super contradicting. And so this morning I was listening to the podcast, and it was talking about women who are on healing spiritual journey, or who are healers in their professional life, and how they haven't been drinking for like 20 years because you have to be a clear channel. And then before this show, I was like looking, and another podcast which is mostly focused on biohacking. I haven't listened to it yet, but the caption was how alcohol makes us happier, and it was this whole interview around, I mean, alcohol goes all the way to ancient times, and I mean, it was like, used in ceremony, so it's kind of part of our whole like fabric of like how our societies were built. But I just was like thinking about it in terms of even as being in this space, right? There is so many contradicting points of view, and none of them are necessarily right or wrong, because I think I think you can kind of find the science to back up a lot of contradictory things. Not all of them, but I think at the end of the day, like, you have to choose your path and you have to stay true to yourself. Versus, like, I think we often sway because, like, these people tell you this and then these people tell you that, and you kind of form your beliefs in that kind of wobbly manner. It was like a really good reflection to be like, you just have to stay on your path, and you have to align with like what is true for you and for your path.
Yo, can I jump on that real quick? First of all, alcohol definitely makes me happier, okay? And it makes the people around me happier because when I drink, I'm not that much of a cringe anymore. That being said, uh, I totally agree with no, wait. So what I like about this show in particular is we have people with the same end vision, right? But along the way, uh, people might like the right path to get to their end goal or the left path or whatever. And it brings great value to the audience because they can hear on one show different opinions, right? And then they can make up their minds. And that way, like, they're not stuck in a certain kind of matrix of things in a sense. Uh, yeah,
Well, that was a great show, and I'm really looking forward to going to the after show right now, where we're going to go down the rabbit hole of psilocybin, because that's a topic I have been loving. So, cool. Thanks, everybody. Catch me at 184.east.
wait, I haven't finished my glass yet, bro. 184. Man, Wednesday's shows aren't about what time we finish. It's about what time the bottle finishes. Okay, let's get that straight and formulate everything about that. Oh, Ada, I wanted to add one more thing. So when you were saying that um, like how we personally formulate our ideas. I think the best thing that anyone can achieve, and it's one of the few things that I'm proud of in my life, is that I have my like small box of thinking, well manufactured, well done to what I really believe in, to my values, my ethics, my lifestyle, whatever, right? And everything else, it comes around it, and I formulate my ideas around that. But what's wrong is that this core you changes because you heard someone say this or someone say that. The core you should not change, especially our age, right? If I'm 18 years old and I'm telling you this, no, your core self is a self-destructing mechanism. But like being a mature person, um, you have certain things that you should be able to preserve no matter what the environment is around you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, it's I call it like your North Star, but it's like if you have that clarity of like what your purpose is, then everything else would arrange around that. But then that would stay super clear, and then any decision, it's so easy to just run through it. Be like, does it align? Stay. Doesn't align? Goes. Like it's a really easy process, and I think for some of us, it's like that process of like, this is who I am, and this is my life path, and this is my mission. This is why I'm here. It's really simple. And I think that for other people, it kind of wobbles. And, I always wonder with, with the social media and with the technology, like, I always think, we as human, are we actually, like, is it actually helping us, or is it actually taking away? It's this kind of constant um wondering for me. And Gary uses that quote a lot, is that power, how is it, the power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, or something like that. And and we have seen that so much in like online and online communities.
I mean, it depends on how you consume it, right? Uh, 3 years old, definitely, man. Social media is bad for them, right? Because they haven't um, like how do we say this? What does a sponge do? What?
Absorb.
Yeah, they haven't absorbed their family's values, their environment stuff. So it's not good. But for us, man, I'm super grateful for technology. Who would have said I could have researched anything I want in a matter of seconds, or um, learn about whatever I want, or bro, just connecting with you, right now, like we're in a different part of the world, just sitting, man, we're having drinks. Like Wednesday nights for me is literally like going out and having drinks with my friends. I can't tell my real friends about it because they're gonna think I'm crazy, right? Like you're grabbing drinks with your friends at home online, yeah, if um, everything in life is a double-edged sword, and you get to a place where you know how to use this sword and manipulate it to your advantage. Right?
And
Lovely
the
conversation.
sword, there's many types of swords, right? In this example, there's actual physical swords. I think we should never underestimate the power and the skill of knowing how to wield a sword. I think that's a good thing to do, but I think it's safe to say that a pen or a digital pen or an IPFS website is also a type of sword. And being an artist or a poet, being a supporter, being a thinker, there's a lot of ways to carry a sword. And there's a lot of ways to march forward to, you know, to do what has to get done to help keep things decentralized. And there's a lot of competition in this world. There's a lot of competition between each other. There's a lot of competition that causes division. And then there's a lot of healthy competition that encourages us to build really cool shit. And
Let's talk about this for a second.
Well, we're gonna talk about it, and it's really important that we talk about it. We gotta talk about it every day, because there's a lot to talk about. And as we're talking about it, just make sure that you like the video first and subscribe to this content because of the conversations that we're having. And like this video, subscribe, visit us at Minting Coins, become a member, because becoming a member is going to help support us at Minting Coins. It's going to help support our content writers at Web3 Domains. And then, yeah, you also get access to our members only section, members only videos. And that stuff is really cool too, because these are the conversations that have to get had. And I want you to be part of the conversation. So use the comments, hit me up in the DMs. And, you know, if we know who you are in the community, we'll bring you up and right into the stage. So Thread Girl, let's talk about it. Talk about the swords.
Awesome. So, bro, it's a very good subject to have. In my opinion, all competition is good and healthy competition. A world without competition is a monopolized world, and it's a world where lazy people are born, okay? But when we talk about unhealthy competition, you know what we mean? It's not, there is no unhealthy competition. We mean our emotions in that, you know? Because sometimes we get too competitive, we start maybe taking things too personal. No, it's not personal, it's a fucking business, you know? Or like taking things, yeah, I mean, like emotional, you know? That's the thing. All competition is healthy. What's unhealthy is human nature. That's what's unhealthy. It's our unhealthy habits of jealousy, of being too emotional, of being narcissistic, of loving too much power that we only want to have it. Bro, why do you only want to have it? There's so much in this world for everyone to be a part of, you know? That's my opinion. Bro, I feel so smart and like book savvy today. I'm gonna write a book after this show. I feel
Yeah, 100%. Let's do it. I'll read said book.
I wouldn't.
I would. I totally would. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the wisdom from Whiskey Wednesday. No, I mean, I think that you're 100% right, and I think that being in an environment like, you know, where Web3 is right now, and we definitely have seen, you know, this environment with Web2, which is, you know, ready, like, you know, just waiting for innovation to happen. Hey, Steven. How's it going?
What's going on, guys? Sorry for being a little bit behind.
Hey. Great to have you.
Great to be here.
You missed out on all my dropping knowledge session, man. It's over now.
There'll be more. There'll be more because we just started to drink whiskey. Yeah, but you know what I was saying is that, so we're in this, like, you know, very fertile environment where everybody's building, and it is only bound to happen that people are going to build similar things. And you know, and so I'm 100% with you, Thread Girl. I think competition is really, really healthy, because I think that in an environment of competition, right? If you're the only one in the market, I think it makes you lazy. And we have definitely seen it, you know. I mean, we have like an electric company where we live, and they're just absolutely terrible. They're, you know, and there's nobody else. It's the worst customer service I have ever seen. And they just like it. They're like, yeah, whatever. But once you add another company, then all of a sudden, right, you start working harder to be better because there's only a certain amount of customers. And so I do agree 100%. I think competition actually pushes us to be better and to be more innovative, because it doesn't allow us for that place to just like sit and be comfortable and just be like, okay, well, it's working, right? Like it constantly invites you to you know, to push yourself and to invent more, right? And so I mean, I think it's fantastic. And I think, you know, it's challenging to find the place of where we can be in competition and still in collaboration. I think that's like, that's the bridge. And I do believe that humanity in general has the capacity for that. I just think that we haven't, like I always say, Web3 has all the amazing tools to build a better humanity. Is that the humans that are coming into Web3, they don't really know how to use those tools to evolve. So we're very wobbly about it. Like we're still using the old mentality to kind of like patch it together instead of just like stepping, going, oh, it's like we have everything in place. So, you know, it's like we just need little stepping stones.
I couldn't agree more with you. And like, competition doesn't like um, competitors in any market in Web 2 and Web 3, whatever, they don't need to collaborate, right? But what they need to do is set the toxicity and the emotions aside, right? And appreciate the competitor in a sense. Yes, maybe that's too hard or whatever, but yes, you need to appreciate the competitor because the competitor is what pushes you harder. The competitor is what pushes you to be more and become more and like evolve, whether your product or yourself or your communication or whatever, right? You learn from your competitor's mistake and avoid those in your own company. You learn from the good things that they do and try to implement them in your establishment or whatever. They don't need to collaborate at all, but like they have to appreciate one another. But man, like it's man, the human being is disgusting to say the least. We are not learning from the Web 2 shit. We're bringing Web 2 crap into Web 3. Uh, and we're not evolving as human beings on Earth. We are not evolving as long as we get emotional. That's not evolving.
I I feel the sentiment that you're giving about bringing the Web 2 crap into Web 3. I think that the way if we phrase it like that and then put a period at the end of the sentence, then I feel like we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Because there's a lot of good things in Web 2. There's a lot of good things in Web 1. You know, we're not going to erase Web 1 and Web 0 and pre-internet and Web 2. We're going to, you know, Web 3 is just an evolution. So we're not going to get rid of the animal brain part of Web 3. You know, if Web 1 and Web 2 is the animal brain. But I think the way that I want to think about it is that I want to take the good parts of Web 2 and bring the good parts of Web 2 and the good parts of Web 1, because the altruism that we're seeing in Web 3, this thesis of altruism and this thesis of retroactive funding, and those are Web 2 concepts that have been carried into Web 3, and now there's new concepts that are being built on top of them with like proof of humanity and things like that. And so, but it doesn't limit us there. There's advances in human resources, advances in process, advances in technology and learning and art and all that good stuff of communicating and connecting with people in meaningful ways while having a sense of authority and, chain of command. Some of those good things can come into Web 2 while leaving the bad things behind. And it's actually very easy to leave the bad things behind. Why? Because Web 3 has this obscene level of transparency. If we force it, because they can hide transparency if we don't care. But there's so much transparency that it forces a lot of the bad stuff to go away, but only if we bring the good stuff in, right? If we don't have good ways of handling ourselves and reacting to situations, right? Because it's about the proactive way that we go about handling things. Are we proactively trolling? Are we proactively poking the bear? Or are we proactively testing the system? Are we proactively asking questions? And then there's also the reactive things that we do. Are we reactively acting in a way that's constructive? Are we reactively acting in a way that is going to lead to an improvement? Or is our reaction simply more gasoline on the fire? With that being said, I'm Gary Palmer Jr.eth. This is Minting Coins. Let's do a round of introductions. Ada.eth. Who are you? What do you do?
Hey everyone, I am Ada.eth. I work behind the scenes on Web3 domains, so you have the best news and content and onboarding information into as you explore your journey and as you deepen your journey into Web3. And I like to think of myself as as a bridge between the practical and the divine. Great to be here. Happy Whiskey Wednesday.
Salute. 184.
Well,
What the hell are you? What do you do?
I cannot follow that at all. So I'm a private person. I'm 184.eth, and in the wonderful world of Web3, I dig ENS. I do a little trading, a little bit of investing, a little bit of losing money, a little bit of tinkering, all those sorts of things. And I enjoy chatting with the community. That's me.
And we enjoy chatting with you, private person who we know nothing about other than your name is 184. Stephen Miller. Stephen, if this was the after show, I would insert a middle name, Miller. .eth. Who are you? What do you do? How you doing?
Well, as you just said, I'm Stephen Miller.eth. I'm completely non-anonymous. I'm pretty much the inverse of 184 at this point. But I am the host of ENS Shark Tank on Twitter, and I also created a boatload of content over at a company called Cryptocurrent. And we literally just today put out a brand new episode of our show called The Aftershock that's news focused and reporting on the implications of what's going on in the industry. And we also have our predictions episode coming out next week. So we have been crushing content this week, and I am so excited to have a little bit of a break this winter.
You guys,
but I love this. This is the best part of it.
We agree. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Oh yeah, I gotta just correct the record from Thread Girl. Thread Girl's spreading a little disinformation out there, misinformation. Ada.eth is here Sundays and Wednesdays. And it is Whiskey Wednesdays, get a little more wild. But yeah, so yeah, maybe like Sundays and Wednesdays are definitely two of my favorite shows. And then I really dig the Metaverse Mondays, flying around those places as well. Yeah, Steven, the Shark Tank, that's like you can't stop hearing about it, and people love it. It's what the market demands, and I think you're going to create a lot of I don't know if it's FOMO, but people are going to be scratching for some Shark Tanks over the holidays.
Look, man, I hope that they can feed that into next year, because we're back with season 2 on January 17th. And it's been a blast to produce the show. But frankly, like, as much as they chomp at the bit for wanting to come up and sell domains and all that, like, to me, it's about really feeding the community and chumming the waters with like good intel and like really talking about what valuations can be, right? And what trends are really creating value out there in the space right now. So if I can keep chumming the waters with good knowledge and helping people get smarter, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah.
And Steve,
well,
and Stephen Miller, you shared on your final show that you've got big things planned for next year. Would you mind sharing some of those things?
You know, I got to keep it tight-lipped over here on that one. We've got some big surprises in store. I will just say that one of the hints is it may or may not rhyme with merch.
all right. Well, something can't rhyme with itself. So.
Oh,
And-
you'll see, Gary. I'll prove you wrong yet.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess we're gonna see. And yeah, the Discovery Channel and Shark Week is definitely gonna be having a run for their money with all the shark puns. Let me tell you. Thread Girl, who the hell are you? What do you do? Tell us more.
Yo, I don't know who the hell I am. And on Twitter, I'm a pink seal. On here, I'm a alcoholic, JK. So I am Thread Girl. I am the director of operations at DomainPod, which is a Web3 domains marketplace. To tell you more about me, I am dope as fuck. And like follow me on Twitter to know how dope I am. And Stephen, it's so good to put a face to the voice, by the way.
My favorite thing about this show, Thread Girl, getting the chance to finally put faces with names and voices, because I've only heard y'all, for so long.
Totally.
Yeah, I feel that's why we absolutely love it, because it creates such an amazing level of connection, and especially after so many of us have heard each other on Spaces, to actually come and see the faces, it's amazing. I love it. And I think that it brings the relationship further, because once you have this experience, then it's like you take it with you, right? Because like you've been here, you've seen the people, you've drank whiskey with them, and so I think it just deepens the web weaving, which is amazing.
Totally. If I might take 30 seconds more of your time, I want to practice my, like for the second show, how I'm going to introduce myself. Yeah, and I learned from 184. I'm an avid ENS enthusiast, love ENS, like to promote ENS, educate about ENS, but I'm also an art collector. Like I like art, artists. Not those, I don't know, frogs and seals pictures. No, I'm interested in deep art, and I like to collect those.
That's really awesome. Yeah, some people jump on the show and maybe they do, maybe they don't have a lot of experience with YouTube or things of this nature. And it can be awkward a little bit, because we do the intros every show. We do the intros every show. We do the outros every show, right? And some people are like, well, I was already on the show like 10 times or 1 time or 5 times. And it's like, yeah, but other people are watching this for the first time. And maybe they jump in the middle and they rewind to the very beginning and are like, who was this person? Did they say their name, or what they do, or where do they find more? And so that's good for the audience, but it's really important for us as builders, as leaders, as people with imposter syndrome. It's really important for everybody that we understand our pitch, and that we practice our pitch, and that we're able to, in 30 to 60 seconds, we could say, hey, I'm Gary Palmer Jr. and I create content and I give information to help people and businesses create the smartest decisions with the most security and the greatest insight into Web3, so they can save money and make money without getting caught in all the risks that happen along the way. And I do that through minting coins, the YouTube channel, and I do that through Web3 domains, right? And even I am like not perfect, right? Just trying to shoot something out there, but this is important that we're able to communicate that quickly. It's a skill.
Yeah, I literally when Gary and I started our own business and I had to go to networking events and do elevator pitches, it like for 6 months I literally would like freeze up. I was like, I don't know what I do. What do I do? and and now I literally go to net like I do a business pitch at least once a week, and you change it, because if you do the same thing over and over again, people just like tune you out. But you just have to change like a few little things. And I always like to see like what people like. Some people have these like memorable little phrases that you're like, oh, I like know who they are, and you like get to like know them so well that you finish them. But I mean, I think it's like one of the most invaluable skills to be able to tell somebody what you do in like 30 seconds without it being so complicated that they're just like, I don't know what, like the centralized, the immutable, the what.
You have to do it for a 5-year-old for Web3 stuff.
Yeah.
For real, and not only that, like Stephen, I think you and I should practice that more. When you were talking, Gary, about how important it is to introduce yourself, I went back to every space I've ever held, even this one today. I introduced like domain plug, right? I never introduced myself, and I should start to learn to do that because some people are there that they don't know me, they don't know what my background is. Who the fuck am I to say whatever, right? I need to introduce myself. That's very important. I'm gonna shit. I'm gonna start doing that from now on.
Yeah, I
Great.
mean, especially, yours is sort of like right. It's like your name is threadgirl.eth. You're the director of marketing for Domain Plug, and you guys have the best, app that does this for this for this. You know what I mean? You gotta want to like, do like put the marketing pitch in your mouth. But it's like, yeah, this is me, this is who I am, and this is like the benefit. Ada has a class that teaches people how to do pitches. We should probably bring it to Web3 people.
Sign me up, Ada, for real. You should bring it to Web3 people because listen to this. So the other day, 2 days ago, I had a meeting with people who wanna go into Web3, right? And they're not sure how to do so. And literally me explaining and I didn't think about this until now, by the way. But now that I think of it, me introducing myself to them was a 1 hour introduction, maybe, because, and especially because in Web3, each one of us is doing a million things, right? So I'm creating my own personal brand on Twitter, right? I'm part of different PFP projects and communities that like I love and support and maybe keep talking about. And I have a Web3 job, right? And I have my own um, things that I'm enthusiastic about, whether ENS or other than that. So you end up talking for 30 minutes about what you're like. I've never thought about this, but like, literally, and guys, how unorganized I am and how I like things on the spot and shit like that. But literally, this I'm gonna work on. And Ada, if you ever bring this into Web3, which I think you totally should, man, sign me up. Sign me up. We need that.
Yeah, I'm working on in a new year, and this is like been on the wrap, so I think it's the first time that I'm talking about it. But I'm thinking of doing a space, and I won't say anything more about it. But what I wanted, but I definitely will put that because it's gonna be more personal. It's not gonna be talking as much about ENS, but it's going to talk about it's going to be a space to help the builders to do what they need to do and help the creators in the space. But what I wanted to say is we are in a little bit unique situation, because I think each one of us, like Stephen Miller is a brand, and the Shark, the Shark Tank is right. They're separate, even though they're always together. You never know whether at some point they are gonna separate or not. And so I think for each one of us who is the creator, even if you're very behind the scenes, you still are a personal brand. And and that is like very different than it used to be. Like, if you're a head of the company, it's just you're the company, right?
And that goes for everybody watching. Even if you're not a builder, even if you're not a creator, even if you're just the person in the back office doing accounting work or HR work or just whatever work it is, you are a personal brand. I think that's important to recognize.
Bro, and not only that, if I've learned anything in Web3, that not only applies to Web3, but also applies to real life and to everything, is create your own brand, and then people will support whatever venture you go on. And
100%.
creating your brand before creating your venture, man, I don't see a lot of people doing it. Very few people do that. But this is, man, like easy way to success. That being said, do we have topics or not? Because I have a question for you. I really like. Can I ask it?
We do have topics, but what is your question? I'm dying to know.
So I was talking to a friend today.
See if I can use this to pivot into the topic.
Yeah, okay. I was talking to a friend today, and this got me thinking about what's my goal in Web3, right? Why am I building my personal brand? I know I am building it, right? I'm putting time and effort on it, guys, for real. Like sometimes I'm not sleeping because I wanna build my personal brand, and it's not personal brand that is fucking engagement. And my personal brand isn't to get to followers. That's not at all. My thing is like I want to know everyone that I interact with, I connect with. I want to know who I'm following and who follows me. Okay, the following, uh, the followers count doesn't count. Okay, because this is becoming a very cringe
quality over
method.
quantity. Yeah, quality
Yeah,
over quantity.
Yeah, it's
And
becoming a very
and also you could only know. I mean, if you're based on what you're talking about, you could only really know 150 people, right? Like that's like the number based on the science and the research, and they use it in industrial psychology for creating offices where they don't have more than 150 people on a floor or in a unit, because that's the most number of people that your brain can like really know. So yeah, you
Yeah,
want to do quality.
for people
But
you
in
really
the
know,
same
you
time,
really know, but you can connect. Like I've personally think I've connected with the people that I used to have notifications on and used to think, oh my God, I really wanna. I hope I can be like that person one day or whatever or whatever. So I got that achievement X. Anyways, but I don't know why I'm doing this. What's the end goal of my personal brand? So
What is
my
your North
question
Star?
is, huh?
And what is your North Star? Like what is your guiding principle, and what are
Exactly.
your goals? Yeah.
No, well, my guiding principle, I know what my guiding principle is. I'm never gonna ever get paid for to shill something or whatever or dump shit on the people that like. If I talk about a project, right, an NFT project, I'm never selling that shit. If I talk about it, I'm never ever selling it because
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
would rephrase that to say your guiding, like that's like an example of your guiding principle. Your guiding principle is to like help people and bring truth to people's world, right? And
Yeah.
an example of bringing truth to people's world is not shilling garbage and not leading people astray to exchanges and things like that. But what's your question?
Yeah, my question is, what is your end goal in Web3? What's your end goal And like, why are you putting so much time and minting coins on Twitter? Man, I see you literally, Gary, every day getting up to speak on ENS updates. Man, I'm
I wasn't
there
there
every
today.
day, but sometimes, like, I don't want to speak. I'm super tired. I'm fucking exhausted. Like, and Cav, man, I love shout out to Cav. He like sends me
Powerhouse.
a speaker request, right? And I would be in his DMs telling him, "Hey, bro, like I'm here to support, but I really like low of energy. You're putting that much energy. What's your end goal of it for ADA 184 Stephen Miller? I would love to hear that from you."
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I have multiple end goals, and so I mean, sometimes I let the cart lead the horse, or I let the tail wag I let my tail wag the dog, if you will. And so there's like the intelligent thing that is my guiding star, and then there's the like the inner the subconscious guiding star, right? And so my subconscious guiding star has simply been engagement and connecting with people and not being alone and working with other people and helping other people learn about this technology in like a grassroots sort of way, to where, you know, I don't know, we could like build stuff and learn about decentralization and learn about technology and build stuff, but also like create connection. And in a world where like most people are normally lonely, and in a world where then we entered the pandemic, and there was this extra bit of loneliness. And it's not that I'm lonely per se. I'm not like you're like your typical lonely, like of the
We are
feelings of,
all lonely, bro.
yeah.
We are
Yeah,
all
I mean,
lonely.
I'm just saying, like I'm in a good place because like I have a good support network. I have friends, I have family, I have
You have
kids.
Ada. You have the
I have,
best
yeah, yeah,
support.
yeah. I got a lot, but there's still more, right? There's still levels of what you need, right? There's the basic levels, and then it's more and more. It's an onion, and right, and so there's still this level of connection that I'm still craving, and I'm still like my heart and my mind and my body craves for. And so that's why I'm out there on Twitter, and I'm just shouting things, and I'm not using Twitter appropriately, and I'm just like people are just like, that's a crazy guy, you know what I mean? Because I'm like all over the place. And then Spaces came around, and Spaces was a lot better for me because I'm able to verbally articulate myself a better, a little bit better than I am, with the written word. And so, that's like the subconscious thing. What drives me is just connecting with people and having fun and building. And just, I literally love reading websites and papers and clicking around and researching things and going down the rabbit hole and wasting my time on details that completely don't matter, but allow me to fully immerse myself in things and understand things to like inner depths, right? I'm like a siler, if you know the TV show Heroes, which is like super nerdy, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm like a siler of information. And but like, more objectively and more intellectually, as like I'm organizing our lives over here, my third/first most important goal, right? It's kind of the first most important goal, but it's third on my list, is that I want to make money. I want to make money. I need to make money. I need to have
Bro,
multiple sources. If you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, if you want to get rich, there's two things you do. You listening? The first thing you do, spoiler alert. If you want to read the book, pause the video, go read the book, then come back. Spoiler alert.
No. Tell
Two
me
things about
what
getting
do
rich.
I need. Tell me what do I need to do to get rich right now, bro. Right now.
Well, it's hard, but it's good if you know what the goal is, because then you don't waste time on. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is that you got to have multiple sources. I mean, first or second, whatever. One of the things you got to have multiple sources of reoccurring revenue. So you got to have reoccurring revenue, and you got to have multiple sources of it. The second thing you need to do is that you need to invest, and this is not financial advice, but generally speaking, you need to invest into assets which appreciate, right? You want to invest in things that go up in value, like gold and Bitcoin and real estate.
It seems.
You know, the S&P 500. You know, NASDAQ. Things
Or you
like
can just degen on ENS.
yeah. Well, see, I mean, if you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you got to be careful with ENS. I mean, you just got to say it because, and Master.eth says this all the time. If you have one ENS, that's an asset. If you have more than one ENS, it's a liability. It's a liability because you have a reoccurring cost. It doesn't matter. Like if you have a house, one house is an asset, more than one house is a liability because you have costs for upkeep. You know, you have a nut, you have like, you get, mortgage, you have taxes. Even if there's no mortgage, you have like, there's just upkeep costs. And
I need to say something to feel like an OG.
Well, yeah, okay.
Sorry. Bro, I love interrupting. But back in February, I literally hosted a space with Wheezy that was called ENS. Bro, 184, you were there. It was called ENS Assets or Liabilities. And we were talking about this exact, man, I feel not only smart today, but an OG as well. Go ahead, Kerry. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. So I was just throwing it out there that I don't want because, you know, there's people like Scuff and Snail who might, you know, call me bullshit. So yeah, just to put the bullshit up in first, right? And just to like put the authentic stuff. Obviously I want to make money. And it's the third goal on the list is to make money, to make multiple sources of reoccurring revenue. And it's the third goal on the list because are things that are more important than money, right? If we make money and sacrifice integrity, then that's not the kind of money that I want to make. All right. So money is important. Money is not everything. So the guiding principles are to, well, I guess I was thinking about the guiding principles of like Web3 domains or like the goals of Web3 domains, but yeah, the guiding principles are to fight for decentralization. Basically, I have I don't want to like get into it on this show. Like we can talk about it in the after show because I will get into it. I will.
I'm down.
But
Let's
I
talk about it.
have an extremely dystopian perspective on humanity and the way that the river will naturally run if it's left unchecked.
That is exactly why we have after shows.
And
Otherwise,
I was just about to say, nah, you, Gary?
Right?
That couldn't possibly be true.
Yeah, but we've seen massive amounts of centralization in Web 2. Like email has become re-centralized. T1, T3 internet connections have become re-centralized. There's a lot of Web 2 that has become centralized. And right now, Web 3 is decentralized, and it will take a lot of work for people to keep it decentralized. And I have an escape hatch. I am fine. My next generation of kids might be fine. If my kids do well, their kids will be fine. After the third generation, like I you know what I mean? Like everything goes to hell after that, right? What I'm trying to say is that blockchain has there's a possibility blockchain gets centralized and gets used to enslave people 3 or 4 generations after us. That's the lead into the after show. But that's not a guarantee. That's 100% not a guarantee. And we see that happening, right? We see I don't want to get political. We got to save a lot of this for the after show. Because you know why we got to save it for the after show? Because there's so much happening in the world. And there's so much building that's going on in the world. There in Web 2 and Web 3. And you know, we're talking about utopia, we're talking about dystopia. There's a lot of things that lead to wherever we're going. And the point is that wherever we're going up. There's more and more adoption of Bitcoin, more and more adoption of Ethereum, more and more adoption of ENS. And just to give you a small example of this adoption of ENS and how this works directly and indirectly, directly for ENS. Wrong article. PayPal is launching an integration with MetaMask. MetaMask, which is owned by Consensus. Did you guys know that MetaMask is a not really open source? And PayPal is doing an integration with MetaMask, which is owned by Consensus. MetaMask is a Web3 wallet for Ethereum transactions. Similar to PayPal checkout feature on online stores like Etsy and eBay, the integration with Consensus's MetaMask is going to let users buy and transfer Ether by logging into MetaMask. So think about this. You have PayPal. And when I say PayPal, that includes all the PayPal widgets. You think about it. There's a widget on someone's website and it says, buy now with PayPal. I don't know what the stats are. I didn't pull up before the show. I should have, thinking about it now. But there's got to be like, what, 10 to 50% of all websites, maybe more, have to have buy with PayPal. And so now they're going to have potentially, all of them buy and transfer with Ethereum. They may have a little MetaMask logo next to the PayPal logo. You're just going to tap a buy button, log into PayPal before making a purchase, and then use your MetaMask to use US dollars to purchase Ethereum. Customers are going to be able to use PayPal to buy Ethereum as a Wednesday. And the features are going to be rolled out to all US users in the coming weeks. I'm not going to read everything in this article for you. But this integration with PayPal, you got to understand this, is going to allow US users to not just buy crypto seamlessly through MetaMask. You're not just going to be able to buy cryptocurrency and unlock all the boxes of Pandora that entails. They're also going to be able to easily explore the entire Web3 ecosystem. We're talking Decentraland. We're talking crypto voxels. We're talking potentially, I don't know. I don't know. Are we talking Domain Plug? Are we talking ENS Vision? Are we talking OpenSea? I don't know. It sounds to me, if I have a MetaMask wallet, maybe that means I can connect to OpenSea and then buy stuff through my bank account, through PayPal, through MetaMask, through OpenSea. All four of those people are happy, and I own some NFTs.
Bro, this is max Trojan horse mass adoption. At the last couple of months, we've seen a lot of things that we said it's a Trojan horse mass adoption, like the Reddit thing, like Google. If you like the Google thing, okay? If you know, you know. But this is the peak of it, because a lot of people still don't believe in crypto, right? And you gotta respect them for that, whether you like it or not. Bro, ENS updates in the show. We were just talking about UCAP. So yeah, like a lot of people are still like they still don't believe in crypto, and we gotta accept that, like it or not. But having let's say art enthusiasts, and by art enthusiasts I don't mean what I introduced myself with earlier. I mean really art enthusiasts, and they want to buy a digital collectible because they don't like the word NFT or whatever. They can now do it much easier, right? Or whatever the case is. But like this is, in my opinion, today was bullish because of this. This is peak max Trojan horse adoption into Web3.
So I want to come with a different angle to this as well. This is amazing. It is a positive Trojan horse, and to break it down into parts as well, we have a non-custodial wallet, which is a very powerful thing. That also has a few flaws. So MetaMask has different trackers. The use of Infura, they're going to track your wallets, whichever wallets you load. They're going to track that connectivity. That's data. That's powerful. That's privacy being removed. That's a layer of privacy being removed.
VPN, everybody, you better be using a VPN.
And And so that's something that's stripped away. And then when you add this third-party tool, whilst it's really great and useful, and we've got the example before was OpenSea, and yes, there's MoonPay that allows you to immediately purchase things via OpenSea, and I know there's also one on ENS.vision. I forget what it's called if anyone wants to jump in, but you've got all these things that are helpful to onboard people, but they are stripping away the decentralization, and they are stripping away certain layers of privacy that we sort of need to protect. Like to use the Eric Voorhees thing, you don't give them up so quickly, you don't give them up so easily. So this is something that let me just catch my point. You're losing this decentralized side of things. You're also losing what is the main wallet, the main non-custodial wallet. There are alternatives out there. There's Tallyho, there's Tally Wallet, and there are other ones that have a commitment towards decentralization. But this is the one that, making up a number, 95% of people use. And the moment you introduce something like PayPal, which is a behemoth in its own right, I'm not sure where it stacks up against Cash App and things like that nowadays, but you introduce regulation and you introduce other tracking requirements, and they're not going to stop at a US audience while this is targeted to a US audience. It's going to expand outwards. So to me, this is a dangerous step forward, coming at a time where there's a lot of crazy things going on in US, whichever Parliament, Senate, whatever you call it right now, SBF discussion thing. So there's an angle where this is concerning.
It's definitely concerning, but like, if I can just add one quick thing in, it's like, this is realistically just adding in another layer of complexity, right? It's tacking on another obstacle that you have to jump over in the relay race of Web3. From my perspective, as I understand what's going on with MetaMask and Infura and collecting user information, what you've got going on is, if you're using MetaMask's RPC, right? If you're able to get onto a separate RPC, your data is not going to get collected. They're not advertising that.
Depending on the RPC, but yes.
Yes, absolutely. Depending on you're dead on, depending on the RPC, but they aren't advertising it. If you're using a separate RPC, but you are also using PayPal, you're still getting tracked. That's the thing that, like, we're creating obstacles. It's sequential, right? So to see what they're doing, like, there's benefits to it, right? Because a company like PayPal that's 3x their user base across the last decade, right? 426 million users in 2021 to now, like, I mean, it's just, there's a tremendous opportunity, but the question is how many of those users are really going to get educated on where their security is? So you're right, a VPN is essential. You're right, like, we need to be educating people on the right RPCs to be using. But it starts with those of us that have that education to get it out there, right? That at least to me is my diatribe on it.
Yeah, and to add on to your diatribe in terms of this RCP, RPC conversation, everything you said, plus getting as many people, not everyone's going to do it, right? But getting as many armchair sort of participants as possible to run their own RPC endpoints, and then getting serious organizations like ENS Vision, Domain Plug, ENS Shark Tank, Web3 Domains, all of us to also run our own RPC endpoints. That could be really good. And why is that really good? That's really good because it helps drive decentralization, and it helps drive competitors, right? Competition. Because we don't want, anyone to have 100%. This is like a big topic of conversation at places like DevCon, and how it's really great that there's like a diversification in all of these different areas. So if one thing fails, there's lots of other things that can come on a scene. And just to close up the PayPal article part of the conversation, now, so this is brand new with PayPal, right? This integration with MetaMask is brand new as of, I think, like today. And in June, they started letting people transfer their crypto from PayPal to other wallets, right? So we are seeing a progression, a positive progression. This could be a negative progression of not letting people self-custody or transfer out of the system or to do integrate. So this is a positive progression. Even though, to who is it, 184's point, this does give PayPal more data with IP addresses, which is a huge risk. It's a major reason why people should, use VPNs and potentially Tor networks, and why privacy is a right, and we should fight for rights and, donate to Coin Center and places like that. But I just wanted to point out this part of the article where it's very interesting that this is happening today. Why is this happening today? Maybe it's because last week, a PayPal competitor called Stripe launched its own tool to help Web3 companies like games and NFT marketplaces to allow their companies to buy crypto with fiat. So Stripe did it last week, and PayPal's like, all right, let's put on the gas. Let's do the integration with MetaMask. And the last thing I want to say to 184's point highlighted here is that the parent company, which has partnerships with Apple and Walmart, I'm not sure if they're talking about Stripe or PayPal in this context, but the whichever parent company, Stripe or PayPal, has partnerships with Apple and Walmart, and Apple or a Stripe or PayPal is going to handle the fraud, the compliance, the KYC, the AML, and they're going to be collecting that data, that people are talking about. So competition is good. I think competition is good, and they're definitely collecting data on you. So it's positive news. It's negative news. Depending on how you live your life determines if this is good news or bad news for you. And how the majority of the people in your community live their lives determines if this is good news or bad news for you. Thread Girl, what's up?
Bro, I've been wanting to talk for 5 minutes. First of all, this is.
Hey, I gotta let Steve talk too. I gotta say something. I wanted to put out there that PayPal uses MetaMask. MetaMask uses ENS, and this means PayPal uses ENS. This is my logic. So this is good for ENS.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. But I'm so excited about this topic because, first of all, to what we were talking about earlier, this shows how healthy competition is. Competition is always healthy. We, the people, make it unhealthy. Second of all, concerning the privacy thing, Gary, we literally talked about this 3 weeks ago, bro. That whatever you do, even if you're on VPN, if you're on MetaMask, you're getting tracked, bro. And I literally told my story on this show. I cannot use OpenSea without a fucking VPN, and I still got banned from OpenSea. How was that? By the way, shout out to LCFR, man, for really digging into it, right? Bro, but that's we know that, yeah? Anyone who's been in the space for more than a day and who actually values their privacy and actually want to learn knows this, right? But it doesn't matter. 184, I'm talking to you. Look at me. It, it doesn't matter. You know what? Because you know why? Because people who are still using PayPal don't give a shit about their privacy to begin with. Let's start with that. If you're using the traditional finance system, you don't give a shit about your privacy. You just wanna buy stuff you like that are digital collectibles, not NFTs, right? Or whatever. So I don't see this as negative at all, and I don't see how this affects negatively in any way possible, because I'm not gonna use PayPal. First of all, I cannot use PayPal here, but even if I could, I'm not gonna use it because I value my privacy and I don't want a fucking KYC to be able to buy a fucking fraud picture or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And second of all, wait. Told you, look at me. I didn't tell you, start. I'm just kidding about it. Bro, I'm so funny. I told you guys, I'm dope as fuck. but second of all,
Putting commentary on your own thing. Oh, I'm so funny.
what-
Can I hone in on a particular thing here? So the angle to which I give the most concern, because I agree with you, all these things, well, they're all concerns, but where I come from is MetaMask is an integral tool, and it stands alone. It doesn't have that many competitors. And so in a time when we're still young, in a time when we're still vulnerable, when this core infrastructure may not be the right word, but this core infrastructure, when it has too many vulnerabilities or too many things that change in a direction that could be taken over and go in a very dire direction, that's the concern. So if we had 5 wallets that were all let's say 2 of them had 40% and the rest split 60, that would be less of a risk if one of them had this integration and then started introducing certain compliance requirements or whatever it might be. There would be alternatives that you could go to. You could go in different places, but we don't have that right now. So my concern is that this is the Trojan horse of the other kind.
Okay, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate today. Yeah, you don't have an alternative right now. But bro, if we had an alternative with PayPal or without it, we would have gone to the alternative because, man, we love MetaMask right now because it's the best thing, right? But MetaMask is shit. Matter of fact, MetaMask is shit. We're still, and that's why we always say, bro, we're still so fucking early, man. And why is that? It's
We're
because
so early. MetaMask hasn't given us our airdrop yet.
fuck them for that. By the way, I'm only for if they give me an airdrop, I will stop fudding them. Okay, I will sell my soul
For a
for
week.
30K right now.
Asterisk for 1 week.
No, just 5 minutes.
Uh, that offer stands for 2 minutes. But that being said, for real though, if we have any alternative for MetaMask, Gary, I know you, bro. I bet you would have flipped. Ada, I know 184. I know you. Stephen, I don't know how your politicals are yet, but I'm sure if you're on this show and enjoying it, you have the same mentality as we do.
Anybody who's anybody knows, unless like you're friends with the people at MetaMask and you don't want to say it out loud. Everybody knows MetaMask is I mean, like
It's
yeah,
this decentralized bank.
There's other risks that there's issues with Infura and things like that, and there needs to be like more alternatives with Infura. But basically, I would say like and Tether's a big risk. There's a lot of big risks in crypto, but like one of the biggest risks in crypto is MetaMask, because how in the world, how in heaven's green earth, would you ever connect to any website in the world without MetaMask? You have no idea. None. And so there are absolutely people all over the place that are thinking about opening up a competitor to MetaMask.
Bro, totally. By the way, sorry for being unmuted while eating chips, but
No, it's okay. I didn't
I,
hear it.
I had no idea.
I usually
But,
call out the bad ASMR.
Yeah.
but we would have all been out of MetaMask already if there was an alternative, and there will be soon, man. And we literally talked about this the other day. We're still so early that, man, I don't give a shit about onboarding people now, and I don't mean people like my age. Fuck yeah, I would onboard them because there are opportunities here. But I can't onboard my mom because there's so much risk. It's still so much complicated, like the whole process of it, right? But eventually, and it's the same way internet was when we used to have that ding, 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 to connect. It's the same. And eventually, we're gonna have some new dope ass shit that is so much less risk, first of all, so much user friendly, so much better to handle and to learn crypto through it, that Web3 is literally gonna become the new internet. And we all believe that, or else we wouldn't have been here, right? So that's why I don't give a shit if, yeah, there's more risk of PayPal being integrated in MetaMask. Man, MetaMask in 3 years, we're gonna forget that we've ever used MetaMask. I'm betting, bro, this show is fucking recorded, okay? In 3 years, we're gonna forget that we ever used MetaMask because there are so many builders in the space, and everything we see, man, why do we say this space is super fast? Because everything that comes up, we have amazing brains. And why do we have amazing brains? Because you need to have giga brain to be here right now, this early, by the way. So everything that comes up, we have giga brains that are creating a new thing with better features, more things that you can do with it, and saying that in 3 years MetaMask we will forget we ever used it is far-fetched, to be honest. In 1 year we're gonna forget we ever used it.
If I remember correctly, because we were running the show in 2017, and this is how my memory works, not as much from the shows. I don't listen to the shows, but from making the covers. I'm pretty sure we've been talking about MetaMask for a long time. But so what I wanted to say, and even right now in Web 2, if you don't want to leave your digital crumbs, there are ways to do it. um, they're not easy, right? And so do we go for easy, or do we go for convenience? Because even right now in Web 2, you can have complete privacy. Like, you can literally not leave any crumbs. It just takes a lot of effort. And I mean, we can make fantastic predictions, and literally, because this is going to be here, we can look back in 5 years and laugh at the conversations, or we can be like, wow, that was spot on. That's amazing thing about having the shows. But my prediction is that Web3 is going to be kind of very similar, because each one of us, we can only onboard so many people, right? But then when we look at these giants like PayPal, they can onboard thousands and millions of people like that, because they already have the user base. And so it is very possible that the whole new generation, or the whole new wave of people that's going to get onboarded, will never know the pieces around decentralization, or what it actually took if you were really early. And that is very, very true for the people who have used internet before they had to type in an actual domain name. They were actually people that were using internet. I wasn't one of them, but they probably were having similar conversations. Would I like to see it become more centralized? 100%. Is our system set up for that? I just don't know. Steven, I saw your hand go up. Go.
I was about to say, we keep having these moments on this show where it's like we're defaulting back to Twitter Spaces. It's like, okay, where's the little hand emoji? I need to throw up the hand emoji to be really, really profound with my manners. Yeah, exactly. It's the thing that I was going to speak to is like, you're dead on with some of these companies, right? Like, they have tremendous onboarding power, and we can't downplay the impact there. But we also shouldn't downplay the fact that, both Metcalfe's law and Reed's law both speak to the fact that human networks are exponential, right? And I truly believe that the 5 people that are on this show tonight, we all have the power to go out there, onboard one person, two people, three people, four people, five people, and each of those people then onboard 5 of their own. Those 5 go for 5 of their own. It just continues on, and it can be tremendously powerful, and we need to continue to encourage others to be thinking that way. And granted, continue encouraging businesses as well to think that way, so that it can be truly exponents of exponents, right?
And because this is recorded, I just have to throw out, my predictions as well, because we're throwing out some predictions. Nothing in the world has really changed. We have a new technology that's added to our repertoire. Marketing is still marketing. Business is still business. Technology is still technology. HR is still HR. In marketing, we have first, better, and different. MetaMask is first. It's possible something could come along and be better or different and could upset MetaMask. There's going to be exponential growth. There's no doubt about it. JP Morgan, PayPal, the United States government, every one of them already own Bitcoin. All of them will continue growing with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and Ethereum. This is the future. All of this, we and they, the powers that be, the enterprise corporations and the degens alike, all of us agree. Basically what do we agree on? We're all agreeing that crypto is water, that the river is flowing, and we're all agreeing that the river is flowing downhill, right? The water is moving in this direction. The dam has burst. The genie is out of the bottle, right? Maybe it's a river of toothpaste, for all I know. But this is the key. How it evolves, how it grows. Let it be growing more decentralized or let it grow more centralized. That is the question that we don't know. And that is the question that we need to be asking ourselves as we're onboarding, right? If you're onboarding people and simply onboarding without giving the nuance of decentralized versus decentralized, I mean, all you're doing is accelerating something that's already guaranteed to happen, which is good. That's good. That's helping you locally, and it's helping the network effect. But Zipf's law is a power distribution, and Zipf's law says that whatever the largest thing is in a network, the second largest thing is going to be half the size of the first largest thing. So the second largest city in the world is half the size of the first largest city. It's just how it works. It's weird. And so there's going to be a blockchain. There's going to be a cryptocurrency. It's going to be the biggest. And then there's going to be the second biggest. And then there's going to be the third, the fourth, the fifth. That's how it is with SMTP protocol, email protocol. I looked it up. Jameson Lopp, I talk about it all the time. He's done a great article talking about the re-centralization of SMTP, which I just think is like a Nobel Prize piece of literature, because this goes into how, like, when I talk about, like, you guys are all ENS people, right? Obviously, I'm an ENS person. You all have .eth names. I'm an ENS person, like, big time. I talk about ENS all the time. I talk about decentralization all the time. ENS is a protocol, cross-blockchain, blockchain, cross-blockchain, blockchain compatible, blockchain agnostic, open protocol, decentralized protocol, collaborative, neutral, censorship resistant, collaborative, all those good things, all the ripcord stuff. The same shit was true for SMTP, but SMTP has been re-centralized, which means ENS can be re-centralized. Aave can be re-centralized. Ethereum can be re-centralized. The people who at DevCon, the Ethereum Foundation, Vitalik, core team, everyone knows Ethereum can be re-centralized, which is why, like, I was so proud and so inspired at DevCon to see such a visible, palpable attention and focus, a theme of DevCon that was essentially decentralization. Decentralization through subtraction, decentralization through, community, decentralization through, the offsetting of power from leadership through to systems, which includes but is not limited to community. And so, so I'm just saying that it's not a guaranteed thing that MetaMask goes away. MetaMask will always have the benefit of being first in the market. They're always going to be first to market, and that doesn't guarantee that they're going to be here in 1 year or 3 years. And they're recording people's IP addresses. They've addressed it that it's only for a limited, details and periods. Their software is not 100% open source up to a certain version many years ago. You can no longer fork it. There are just a lot of risks with single people having huge power. It's basically like look at OpenSea for NFTs. OpenSea will always have the benefit of being first. In the history books, I mean, granted, AOL is also in the history book, but OpenSea will always be in the history books of being first, and they are the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Doesn't matter how much I use OpenSea or how much I use ENS Vision or other like things like Domain Plug or whatever. OpenSea, I use OpenSea still. You know why? The OpenSea has something nobody else has. You can sort the NFTs by most viewed. And because I know OpenSea gets a disproportionate amount of traffic, I know their most viewed is more reliable because they get more traffic to their to their pages. You guys know what I'm saying? And
I know exactly where you're coming from, Gary, but at the same time, like there's part of me that just can't help but bring up that power dynamics are changing. And they're changing in a bear market, which is absolutely wild, right? You wouldn't have expected that this would be the time. But I mean, look, 4 days ago, December 10th, we saw Blur 4.5x the daily volume that OpenSea had. And that's unreal. Okay, like we're talking about 21,000 ETH in volume in a day. Like that's just, it's crazy. And granted, some of that's farming, because they're trying to farm an airdrop, but while they do have the first mover advantage and they will continue to maintain that first mover advantage, we're seeing right now in 2022, really the second-ish big year for NFTs, that the first mover can be disrupted. There's potential. And that's like, I mean, it's unreal because in other industries, we've never seen that happen so quickly.
And something that can help make that happen, last thing I just wanted to touch upon. Oh, wait, where'd that girl go? I don't think that was me. But Apple, this just came out tomorrow. What? So here's tomorrow's news. I don't know how I have tomorrow's news.
Tomorrow's news today.
Yeah. Is this like their thing? I don't know. But anyway, what day is today? Where am I living? I'm in the future, man. So Apple is ready to allow third-party apps on iOS. So this is actually really, really big news. They're going to allow users to install alternative apps onto the iOS. This is a big deal. And it could be a real boost for NFTs and Web3 startups, for that reason. And so it's things like this, to Steven's point, that could allow competitors to usurp, incumbents because they are more nimble and they have new opportunities that they're able to take advantage of quicker. But, based on the rules and the laws of marketing, they would have to be better or different because they're not first, unless they were first in something else. But and the PayPal thing, the PayPal news is big news. I think it instantly opens, if it's what I'm imagining, which is essentially a MetaMask logo everywhere you see a PayPal logo. What does that mean? That means millions of people are going to be exposed to Ethereum. Millions of people are going to be able to connect to crypto voxels or Decentraland with their PayPal. Like, dude, that blows my mind. It's millions of people that are instantly going to be able to connect. I mean, if that's true, to Decentraland and crypto voxels, that's a big deal. And then you red pill those mofos, by getting them into our after show.
Yeah.
And then we teach them why they need to get the hell out of PayPal because they'll get hit with $2,500 if they say the wrong thing. Hopefully that's not the wrong thing because I don't want to get hit with $2,500.
Well, this is, this is where education comes really, really important. And this is what I feel has been really lacking in Web3 space. Like, if you're willing to go down the Web3 rabbit hole, and majority of the stories that I have heard, I remember when we have gone to NFT NYC and I've listened to a lot of people talk, I would say 80 to 90% their story is, I stumbled across something, I joined a Discord, then I went down the 24 or 48 hour rabbit hole. I jumped on some, Clubhouse, because Clubhouse was like, that was like the spaces, right, of that time. And I've asked a lot, and that's what I've learned, and I met those people. And so if you're unwilling to go down the 48-hour rabbit hole and hopefully have mentors along the way that can kind of steer you like this is the right rabbit hole, there really isn't like a place where you can safely onboard people where they can go and learn about these different components, right? Because there are different components of Web3 ecosystem that I would say are drastically different in how we are used to use internet in sort of Web2. Like, we just sort of go in and everything kind of works. But it's like, if you want to buy, like if I said, hey, go and purchase an ENS name to a business owner right now, and he would go down the rabbit hole, he would realize, well, I went and I couldn't do it because like I needed this thing called a wallet, and then I realized in order to do the wallet I have to like put some funds into it, and then I had to figure out like how to connect the exchange to my bank, right? So there are all these steps that are not instant, that we're not used to that level of complexity. And I'm not saying we can't close that gap with education, but that's why I feel really, really strongly about education, because in some ways, we have to kind of close that bridge to say, okay, there's this little educational curve. It's not super complicated if it's like really laid out, but most people, they just want to like, we are used to plug and play mentality. I mean, that's just what it is. You plug in the system and it works, and the game is on and you're in. Like, you don't have to make 10 steps to get to the game. And so, it is a little step back. And I think if there isn't that interest that people might have in exploring it, we might lose a lot of people along the way. And so I would love to see a lot more focus, even, from us. Like, I agree 100%, Stephen, with what you said, is that the network effect of people who are really, really passionate about idea, it's 1,000 times more important. I mean, that's how revolutions are born. By one idea that brings and bonds a lot of people together, and then they bring.
And that's also just to call out, because we got to start. I want to start a book club. I don't think I've ever done a real book club like in my life that I was like that I wasn't forced to do or peer pressured to doing. But I would like to do a book club with Ballas's book, The Network State.
Yeah.
100%. And part of his book, The Network State, does talk about creating these new network states, these new nation states. And one of the principles is that you do it around one guiding principle of like, what is the one principle of this nation, of this group of people, of this organization. Just to reinforce what you're saying, like that's a direct principle out of Ballas.
Oh, we have that here. We have that here.
It's free. Wow. Yeah, no, it's a free book. Just Google his name, and I could be saying his name wrong. But and the network state, copy, you can get a PDF of it. Balaji. Oh, I thought there was an S. Maybe there's an S in his Twitter name.
It's Balaji.
Balaji.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought there's an S in my head when I read his name on Twitter. There's an S. Maybe it's his last name. It's
the beginning of the last name, which is like Srinivasan.
Yeah, I'm really auditory. So, it's phonetically it's not my jam. But yeah, thanks for that. Just being vulnerable and admitting my failures. Balaji S.
Now I feel like a dick.
No, like you're being like I don't think you're a dick. Like it's really weird because I have like this European mentality of just being blunt. I wish more Americans were like me, and I wish they would just fucking say what they're thinking and be direct. And I must, I'm not diagnosed, but I must be on the autism spectrum because I just like things like I just like technically like being told like what is what in the universe.
Nah, come on, Gary. Let's get back to the real point here. Let's go back down to the YouTube comments and really check in on whether or not 184 is a dick. Can you please comment and light up the chat as to whether or not 184 is a dick or if he's just being a realist?
And after that, I want to find out how Man's doing because I have a feeling he's slipped in the bath, his towel got wet, and he's standing there waiting to dry. I want the man back.
It's a really long shower. I just have to call it out. It's been a very long shower. I have teenagers. They take very long showers. I know what's up. Just saying.
God is just trying to change the topic here. Guys, $10 in ETH from me for everyone who agrees that 184. I'm not going to say the word. But
and you can make that payment with PayPal.
Send it directly to stephenmiller.eth. Game over.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Can I back up 2 quick seconds, Gary?
Please jump in.
There was something about the Apple article that I feel the need to get revved up about because in the moment I was just like, all right, let's go. It's time.
Yeah.
And just like, this is the craziest thing because I just got done recording a predictions episode for Cryptocurrent and you have something in front of me now that's just like, I've got it on all cylinders. It's not a prediction for 2023. It's a prediction for the decade, right? We are moving into the decade of interoperability. It's realistically what we're doing because what you're seeing with Apple right
Wait, what's that word?
Interoperability.
What does that mean?
Okay, so check it out. It is the interworking of different networks that we already have that exist that have been siloed for an extremely long period of time. The example being the App Store, right? Because you haven't had Android users being able to use the App Store. You haven't had Apple users being able to use the Android App Store or Microsoft if you give a shit about that App Store. I don't. Let's move on. The point being that like you have plenty of different tokens out there as the example in the Web3 world, right? You've got your friendly neighborhood Polkadots. You've got your Cosmoses. You've got Layer 0. It doesn't matter. Pick your poison because we're headed towards an interoperable future. We also call it a multi-chain future. But existing Web 2 technologies have to adopt it first. And I think that's the piece that we've all been kind of glossing over, right? We have a pitch that we continue to make to Web 2 identities and people out there that, when they hear about Web 3, their eyes just go, eh. And the point is that those people need to be handheld. They need to be Sherpa'd. You need to take them there. And for Web 2 technologies like the App Store to take that vision on and accept it means that all of us that are living in Web 3 are fucking right. We got the thesis right. And we're going to be ahead of the curve and we're going to stay ahead of the curve. If the App Store can do this, it means that Coinbase can have an app store of their own, which has been the vision the entire time they've existed. If that can happen, it means that different chains can interoperate. I'm so amped up about it, man. Like I know that this decade is going to end up that way. And it is the most exciting thing across the board when it comes to tech and this whole revolution we're involved in that we call Web3. That's my TED Talk.
All right, I'm rolling out that circular red carpet.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and that's a like a big word in the sense that it's something that's thought about and discussed at a very high level. It's something that's thought about and discussed by lots of enterprise Web 2 incumbents and corporations. It's something that's thought about by Web3 thought leaders such as Vitalik. This concept of interoperability between technologies. That doesn't mean 100% of everything will be interoperable, There's obviously still going to be private metaverses, private blockchains, distributed metaverses, distributed blockchains, just like we have one worldwide internet, but we have countless private intranets. But all of those intranets that are countless, those are interoperable with the one larger internet. And it is in top, you know, the Web 2 is kind of interoperable with Web 2 to a degree, but it's incredibly siloed. And what's not really interoperable is like data. Data is siloed and data is owned. What kind of is new is that, you know, like data is not new, interoperability is not new, but with the blockchain, the data interoperability, the chain interoperability, the ledger interoperability, that's kind of new, and the ownership and that's all kind of new, and that's why it's extremely important that not only do we onboard people, because the more people who we onboard, friends, family, you know, community members, enemies, the more people we onboard, the stronger we're going to be locally and as a community. But you know, this, I'm telling you guys, like we're well into it, right? Like 10, almost 15 years into it. Can you believe that? 2008, 2009 was 10 years. This is already being re-centralized. Like I don't got time to pull up the Bitcoin rich list. I got it ready to go. I can get up in 10 seconds, 5 seconds. I got it already highlighted. The Bitcoin rich list, yeah, man, it's like the rich already own all the Bitcoin. The rich already own all the Ethereum. The rich already own the rich, because if you're poor and you own something that's worth money, you sold it because you have weak hands. I'm looking in the camera. I'm talking to you. You needed to pay your bills.
Can you be a little bit more sensitive to Gwayman?
Oh fuck! I love you, Gwayman.
The way Steven fell off his chair is the most epic moment.
Join us in the after show where we really say what we think.
Where we
100%.
really roast Gwen.
All right.
And
All right.
Gwayman, if you hear us, you better show up at the after show.
Yeah, Gwayman gets a pass to the after show, even though he hasn't become a member yet.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into it. The point is, guys, I'm really serious about this. Blockchain is going to be re-centralized. I don't know to what degree it's going to be re-centralized. We talk about, I think, I mean, you guys are always here. We talked about it in terms of the OFAC list. I don't know if you, Stephen, you know about the OFAC list and the number of Bitcoin blocks that are going through the staking channels that are OFAC compliant. It's a government regulation, financial regulation for compliance, for financial compliance. Centralization, and so like we hit like an 80% number. I think it dropped back down to 65%, but there's a lot of ways that cryptocurrency, open blockchain technology is being poked and prodded, and for the sake of humanity, for the sake of this industry, for the sake of your great grandchildren, and for the sake of yourself too, you know, because 2030 is right around the corner. It's really important that we get ourselves a good position, that we get our communities a good position, and that we keep blockchain decentralized and open and collaborative and immutable and censorship resistant and revolutionary and publicly viewable. Did I say collaborative and open and resistant to censorship and decentralized? Yeah, that's all of them.
Say it again for the people in the back.
Yeah. Just Google, this is what I do. I just Google Andreas Antonopoulos ripcord. Just, you got to memorize. This is my trick. I memorized the ripcord. Like he already did it. You guys, if you guys haven't tripped out on Andreas Antonopoulos, you guys need to trip out on Andreas Antonopoulos. Like he's one of my heroes in blockchain understanding. He's kind of fallen off the map.
Can you send us his name in the comments, because like I can't really spell out shit. So.
I will. But last thing I want to say before the other last thing I'm going to say is that I'm Gary Palmer Jr.eth. You can find me everywhere almost at Gary Palmer Jr. Or you can go to my ENS name, Gary Palmer Jr.eth. You can check out all my numbers there. check out my website, GaryPalmerJr.eth.limo, GaryPalmerJr.eth.link, whatever your flavor. Like this video. Give a last comment before we bounce out of here. Go to mintingcoins.com, become a member. It's just 50 cents a day, you know, for a fraction of a latte, for like basically one New York City latte a month. You can become a member and support what we're doing with Web3 domains, supporting our content writers, supporting our speech, if you like it or not, and get access to our members only content. That's who I am. Ada, who are you? Where can people find you?
I am Ada.eth. You can find me on Twitter. I am on Folded Life, mostly across the internet, Web 2 and Web 3. And you can also find me on web3domains.com.
184, what's up, man? Where can people find you?
184.eth. You can find me on Twitter. If you want to know my details, you can go to app.ens.domains, search 184, and you'll find everything you need. Thank you.
Thread Girl, thanks for showing up.
Bro, I'm gonna take the time and not tell people where to find me, but to say I've been watching a shit ton of podcasts, and this is like for real the realest one you can ever find. So, bro, like those people are taking time to prepare for this podcast, to be on here, to give the best value to you, right? And if for the cost of a fucking latte you can support, man, fucking do that. I'm gonna skip on saying who I am. You can find it at the beginning of this show where I really went on that.
Yeah, and I'll just say it for Thread Girl. You can find more about Thread Girl. Go to Twitter, search threadgirl.eth, or go to the ENS manager and search threadgirl.eth. I highly recommend it. She's refreshing. I don't know how to run a podcast, so maybe someday I'll figure it out. But until then, this is going to be the realest motherfucking podcast around. Stephen Miller. Stephen, I've only said fucking once, so I'm going to say it a second. Stephen motherfucking Miller.eth.
Dude, you were calling back to like one of the highlights of my youth where somebody called me that for the very first time. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm reliving the golden years with Gary Palmer Jr. on minting coins. Man, I also got to give a big shout out and a lot of props to the people that are on this panel right now, because straight away we went 3 for 4 on solid brand identity pitches at the outro after a great intro where we were talking about it. Red Girl, you'll get it. We'll get to 4 for 4 before we get to me. I know we will. We can do it. But truly, it was a pleasure being on the show with you guys today. You can reach me at SteveMiller_PHX on Twitter. That's the best place to start. You can get all my other links there. But I do a lot of content over on Crypto Current as well, which is crypto-current.co. And you can catch me on ENS Shark Tank starting next year, January 17th. But I'm going to be around, man. I'm here to party. I'm here to have a good time. I realized I should have eaten lunch today before this show. And we're here just, minting coins, man. So it's a great time. Really do appreciate you guys. And you're right. There's a lot that we can do together. So I'm looking forward to the after show.
Awesome. Yeah. Everybody show up to the after show. We got like a half hour or so. I know Thread Girl wants to say some shit. Hell yeah. Okay. You're saving for the after show, girl.
Right.
Bro,
We'll see you
For
after.
the after show. I don't want to hear
I'm
it.
gonna save
wanna hear
everything. I'm gonna save everything for the after show. But if
Awesome.
anyone
Fine.
watched me go unhinged on Wednesday nights, you know how unhinged I can be. You gotta be on the fucking after show, because I literally were being like all nice and fluffy all night long, and I have so many shit to say and so many swear words about so many companies we talked about that I
we'll get into
didn't.
it.
Yeah, I didn't
Coming.
go full unhinged, but I'm gonna do
Coming.
that in the after show. So fucking
Yeah,
join us. bro.
you know what's funny is that Thread Girl and I are like, yeah, the after show, girl, Thread, girl, Thread. We are gonna get fucking unhinged in the after
Yeah.
show. And it's like
I am so
Steve Miller, 184. They're like, you guys were pretty fucking unhinged in this show.
No,
Oh, but see,
you
like
haven't seen
you
anything
you guys are on your own level, and like I know that. I respect the level that you're on. That's why I come bringing what I can bring: a goddamn soundboard and a funny ass attitude. Let's go.
Yeah.
And a huggable ass sweater.
And
Like,
very
I
huggable
want to
sweater.
reach out and hug you. I know. I see it.
Very, very
Bro,
cool.
stop telling him you guys are want to hug him. No one wants to fucking hug me. Like every comment, oh,
Right, girl.
Stephen is so huggable. Stephen
Right,
is
girl,
so
I've got
huggable.
books for you.
Bro,
I promise.
Stephen, shut
girl,
the fuck
Kelly.
up.
It's consent.
We've just asked people, everyone in the comments, do you want to hug Thread Girl?
Stephen,
Consent.
Stephen, I'm so salty about you right now. Like, don't even talk to me. And by the way, 184 knows how unhinged I can be, right? He's seen me unhinged on the show and on the after show. But Stephen, bro, you're gonna watch something you've never seen in your entire life, bro, and you're gonna regret it.
I don't know what she's talking about, but
Zero regrets whatsoever. But as you asked, I won't talk to you. I'll just be in my little corner over here.
Bro got this sound kit that makes him
I love
fucking
that sound
huggable, man.
I mean,
No, you're not huggable. I am.
just for clarity, it's the sweater that makes him huggable and a good beard. But I'm loving this. I love, like, I don't care if 0 people watch. Like, I just love connecting with other people. And if I was here by myself, I would just be making content, talking to myself out loud about the news, which I'm basically doing anyways. And the fact that we can do this, the fact that we can have these videos, the fact that we can have fun, the fact that we can share this with other people, the fact that we can add video, I think is really meaningful. I think, I think it's awesome. I can't thank you guys enough for being here with me. I'm really looking forward to the after show. The after show at mintingcoins.com. We're gonna bounce off of here. We're gonna take 5 or 10 minutes. We're gonna post a live. We're gonna set up the live stream. Post a link to mintingcoins.com. And if you're a member of mintingcoins.com, that's the only place you're gonna be able to see the live show, or the private members only show. And and until next time, I'm glad that we have a lot of fun. I'm glad that we're not only taking in information, but we're taking action with it. And that's why together we are Minting